Every Saturday night, the Cloverleaf Social Club had a dance at the Give and Take Athletic Association Hall. If you wanted to join, you had to be a member of the club or work at Rheingold's Paperbox Factory. Sometimes outsiders could come too, but mostly, people from the club brought their favorite paperbox girl. Maggie Toole, with her dull eyes and left-handed dance moves, always went with her friend Anna McCarty and her boyfriend. Anna and Maggie worked together at the factory and were best friends. They always walked home together after work, and Anna would remind Maggie to be ready for the dance at 7. But one Saturday Maggie surprised Anna. She said she didn't need their company because she had a new friend who would take her to the dance. Anna couldn't believe it. Maggie, who was usually quiet and not very popular, had found a friend to take her out. Anna was curious and asked Maggie all sorts of questions about her new friend. "You'll see tonight," Maggie said, excited about her new friend. "He's really nice. He's taller than Jimmy by 2 inches and dresses well. I'll introduce him to you, Anna, as soon as we get to the hall." Anna and Jimmy were the first ones to arrive at the dance. Anna eagerly watched the door, waiting to see Maggie's new friend. At 8:30, Maggie entered the hall with her friend. She quickly spotted Anna and Jimmy. "Oh wow!" exclaimed Anna. "Maggie's friend is great. Look at him." "Don't worry about it," said Jimmy, sounding annoyed. "He's new here. They always get attention. He won't be the only one." "Be quiet, Jimmy. I'm happy for Maggie. It's her first boyfriend. Oh, here they come." Maggie glided across the floor like a fancy boat with her friend by her side. He was taller than most guys there, with curly dark hair and a nice smile. The guys in the club cared more about strength and fighting skills than looks. They didn't like guys who acted too fancy. They preferred guys who were tough and confident. They watched Maggie's friend closely, not sure what to think. "This is Terry O'Sullivan, a friend of mine," Maggie said as she introduced him to everyone. She looked pretty happy, like a girl with her first crush. Maggie Toole finally found a boyfriend, the other girls whispered. The guys didn't seem impressed by Maggie's new friend. Usually, Maggie stood against the wall during the weekly dances. She was always grateful when someone asked her to dance, but she didn't dance much. Anna often had to nudge Jimmy to ask Maggie to dance. But tonight was different. Terry O'Sullivan was like a Prince Charming, and Maggie felt like a butterfly. Everyone wanted to meet him, and even the guys who never noticed Maggie before suddenly thought she was charming. Terry was the star of the evening. He danced gracefully and talked smoothly. He even danced twice with the girl Dempsey brought, which was a big deal. Dempsey was the leader of the group. He was tough and strong, and nobody dared to mess with him. Whenever he got into trouble, he just had to visit the captain for a short talk. Then he would come back and joke around with his friends. At 10 o'clock, Big Mike O'Sullivan came to check out the party. He smiled and greeted everyone before leaving. Dempsey quickly went to talk to him as soon as he arrived. The music stopped. The dancers went to sit down. Terry O'Sullivan, with a nice bow, let go of a pretty girl in blue and went back to find Maggie. Dempsey stopped him in the middle of the floor. Almost everyone turned to look at them, like two fighters in a ring. Some guys in tight sleeves moved closer. "Wait a second, Mr. O'Sullivan," said Dempsey. "Are you having fun? Where do you live?" Dempsey was a bit heavier than O'Sullivan. Dempsey was strong-looking with a serious face. O'Sullivan looked angrier and less in control. They were like two big forces meeting. They were too powerful to share the spotlight. Only one could win. "I live on Grand," said O'Sullivan rudely. "You can find me there." "Where do you live?" Dempsey didn't answer his question. "You say your name's O'Sullivan," Dempsey continued. "But Big Mike says he never saw you before." "Big Mike hasn't seen everything," said O'Sullivan, confidently. Dempsey leaned in, talking nicely but seriously. "Usually, O'Sullivans around here know each other. You brought one of our girls here. We need to know who you are. Do you want us to figure it out?" "Maybe you should mind your own business," O'Sullivan said calmly. Dempsey looked happy. He had an idea. "I know now," he said. "You're not an O'Sullivan. You're a monkey." "Sorry we didn't see that earlier." O'Sullivan got angry and moved fast, but Andy Geoghegan stopped him. Dempsey nodded at Andy and William McMahon, the club secretary, and quickly walked to a door at the back of the hall. Two other club members joined them. Terry O'Sullivan was now with the Board of Rules and Social Referees. They talked to him quietly and then led him out through the same door. "Let me explain what happened here." Behind the hall, there was a small room rented by the club. In this room, guys settled their problems without causing trouble on the dance floor. No girl had seen a fight at the club in a long time. The guys made sure of that. Dempsey and the board worked smoothly, and many people didn't notice what happened to O'Sullivan, including Maggie. She looked around for her friend. "Hey, what's up?" said Rose Cassidy. "Weren't you with them?" "Dempsey picked a fight with your guy, and they've gone to the fight room." "How does my hair look, Mag?" Maggie put her hand on her chest. "Gonna fight with Dempsey," she said, worried. "They have to be stopped. Dempsey Donovan can't fight him. It'll be bad." "Why do you care?" said Rosa. "Don't they fight every time?" But Maggie ran off, weaving through the dancers. She pushed through the back door into the dark hall and then pushed the door of the fight room with her shoulder. It opened, and she saw the board with their watches, Dempsey Donovan ready to fight, and Terry O'Sullivan looking angry. Without slowing down, she screamed and grabbed O'Sullivan's arm to stop him. She took the knife he had pulled out. The knife fell to the floor with a loud clang. A knife in the Give and Take Association rooms. That had never happened before. Everyone stood still for a moment. Andy Geoghegan kicked the knife with his shoe, like someone discovering an old weapon. O'Sullivan muttered something angrily. Dempsey and the board exchanged glances. Then Dempsey looked at O'Sullivan without being mad, like one looks at a lost dog, and gestured towards the door. "Go out the back stairs, Terry," he said shortly. "Someone will throw your hat down after you." Maggie walked up to Dempsey Donovan. Her cheeks had a bright red spot, and tears were rolling down slowly. But she looked him straight in the eye. "I knew it, Dempsey," she said, her eyes losing their sparkle even with tears. "I knew he was Italian. His name's Tony Spinelli. I rushed in when they said you and he were fighting. Italians always carry knives. But you don't get it, Dempsey. I never had a boyfriend before. I got tired of coming with Anna and Jimmy every night, so I asked him to pretend he was O'Sullivan and brought him along. I knew he wouldn't be accepted if he came as an Italian. I guess I'll quit the club now." Dempsey turned to Andy Geoghegan. "Throw that knife out of the window," he said, "and tell them inside that Mr. O'Sullivan got a phone call to go to Tammany Hall." Then he turned back to Maggie. Hey Mag, he said, I'll walk you home. And how about next Saturday? Will you come to the dance with me if I come to get you? Maggie's eyes changed from dull to bright brown in a flash. With you, Dempsey? She said excitedly. Yes, definitely.